Hey everyone, IvyLeeGaming here, and today we're playing Honkai Star Rail. For today's video, I'm going to continue reacting to the Keeping Up with Star Rail series, and today we have Clara. Alright, so for today's video, we're going to take a look at Clara's Keeping Up with Star Rail video. I have already done a video on Sela and Branya, so Clara's up next. I'm looking forward to seeing this. She's the one that tugs on the heartstrings, and I'm very curious if they're going to show any more interaction with a little bit more like they did for Sela. I was kind of sad that the Branya one didn't show another little cute guest. I thought they were gonna do this cute little talk show vibe, but they totally didn't with Albert. I'm a little bit sad, not gonna lie, still sad. But we're gonna move on to Clara now. If you haven't already watched the other videos, go ahead if you feel like it. Doesn't really matter, not necessarily watching them in order, but I really like having the getting to know the characters and how to use them in battle, but a mixture of also having little tidbits about their backstory and getting to fall in love with them as well, right? Especially little Clara. So I'm gonna play that, and let's take a look.
There's a strange tale circulating in Belobog's underworld. The robot named Svarog is antagonistic toward most residents here, but shows human-like emotion and thought for one girl in particular. Though the worlds of blood and oil couldn't be further apart, the relationship between these two is akin to family. Clara is a physical type fighter, following the path of destruction. Despite her fragility, this little girl has her own way of doing battle. When Clara uses her basic attack, Svarog will deal physical damage to a single enemy. Under Svarog's protection, the damage taken by Clara is reduced. Svarog will place a mark of counter on any enemy that attacks Clara and deal them a ferocious counterattack.
I love it. So protective.
Svarog is constantly watching the enemy's every move in battle. Consume a skill point and use Clara's skills. Svarog watches over you. For Svarog to deal physical damage to all enemies, as well as extra physical damage to enemies tagged with a mark of counter. All marks of counter are removed after Clara's skill is used. When Clara uses her technique to enter battle while exploring, she increases the chance of enemies attacking her for a few turns, allowing Svarog's counter to be triggered more frequently.
Yeah, this is really important for the gameplay of Clara. She is kind of a defensive offense style character, where you're relying more on those counterattacks, the follow-up attacks, as they call them, like the path of elation type stuff in the simulated universe. Keep that in mind as well. So this is really good to keep that in mind, that it's not all about just using her AoE. It's about timing things properly to where you can take advantage of those follow-up attacks with the mark like they talked about, and making sure you're not wasting that as well. So you definitely need to build Clara to be tough and to survive, aka Clara and Svarog, let's be honest. But I like that. I thought it was really creative for them to add a character like this, and with this it allows her to have some of the highest damage potential in the game. So if you've pulled Clara, be happy, definitely not sad. She might just be a cute little girl, but with Svarog on her side, she's kind of a badass.
Svarog's protection of Clara stems from a promise, not a command. When Clara uses her ultimate, Svarog protects her in a more comprehensive manner. Damage received by Clara is further decreased, and the chance of enemies attacking her is significantly increased for a set number of turns. At the same time, Svarog's counters are enhanced, and he immediately unleashes them against any enemy that attacks an ally. Plus, Svarog's damage increases, and he deals a set amount to enemies adjacent to the target. But Svarog's enhanced counters are limited. The chaotic underworld is home to many a foolish vagrant seeking to challenge Svarog's status. Down here, Svarog must rely on his iron fist to uphold order. 3 enemies launch an attack on Clara. Svarog players the blows, delivers his counters, and catalogs the attackers, tagging each with a mark of counter. Clara uses her skill for Svarog to launch missiles and deal damage to all enemies. Due to the existing marks of counter, all enemies receive extra damage, and the battlefield is wiped clean. Now, Clara uses her ultimate to deal with an aggressive second wave of enemies. Svarog's counters are now enhanced. He will counter enemies whenever an ally is attacked, and deal damage to enemies adjacent to the enemy target.
So good.
Svarog's counterattacks repel the challengers, and order is returned to the underworld once again. As an old-era security robot, Svarog witnessed the war between the Eurilo 6 natives and the Antimatter Legion, as well as the Stellaron's activation and the arrival of the Eternal Freeze. He sealed away every one of these secrets, and in the subsequent era of peace, his concern has been the preservation of order beneath the surface. Though it seems like being Clara's photographer is a close second. Priorities, man.
Even a little humor thrown in. All right, I like it. Let me know what you guys think of this one. So let me put this quickly on something cute with Clara, because Clara. All right. I loved the storyline with Clara personally. I thought it was really sweet and special to kind of give some, like they said, some emotion, some human-like characteristics to the robot Svarog, because everything about Svarog is calculations, right? He makes his decisions based on his calculations, which he thinks are never wrong. But of course, there's always a variable like the outsiders that couldn't possibly have made it into his calculations because he couldn't have predicted those things. But when it comes to Clara, he's just extremely protective, and that gives a human side to a robot, which I love that. I think that's really sweet. It makes you have more interest in Svarog as a character in the story as well, not just cute, sweet little Clara that we all want to protect. I feel like Clara is probably the Nahida of this game, right? she's the sweet, innocent one. Well, at least on paper at first when you know. I'm not going to get into Nahida because for one, I don't actually play Genshin. For two, I feel like I've got a gist of the fact that she's a little badass too, not just a sweet, innocent little girl. More definitely not a sweet, innocent little girl from what a little bit I've been teased. But Clara, I think at least for the point right now, there's a little bit of a difference here. She is just an innocent girl. She's not the one being powerful and attacking and actually being the little badass. She's a sweet little innocent girl that Svarog wants to protect, and it's actually Svarog that's the one doing the damage for her character. So it is a little different here, I think. Although, again, I don't know all the details of the Genshin side of things. One of these days I will play Genshin, I'm sure, because I love it already, and I have for a long time. But I really hope I pull her. I think it's a creative style of gameplay to try to make the best use of the follow-up attacks, to play that defensive style, timing things correctly. Although at least when they have the mark, they're going to do more damage when you attack them. So even though after you use the attack, the mark goes away, you're still going to be at least being able to take advantage of an extra increased damage bonus. But I love the counterattack style in any game. I mean, I played Raid Shadow Legends. The counterattack champions were kind of king. Having those follow-ups, it can just give you, it's like having an extra turn, it's like having an extra character in your roster. And I love with the ultimate that it also gives the chance for the attack, the retaliation almost, I guess, when any ally, not just Clara, is attacked. Svarog attacks as well. So tons of extra damage potential in general, besides just the actual hits themselves. So it adds so much to the team. She's probably one of the best characters in the game, as of right now at least, because of the way this all works. So as I mentioned while we were watching, this also comes to play with the simulated universe, making sure that you can actually take advantage of the path of elation. All of the blessings of elation, I should say, are really good for her because they're all based around follow-up attacks, which is what her kit is all about. So keep that in mind if you do have Clara in your roster and you're trying to push forward with simulated universe. Try to focus those as much as possible. But all right, that's all for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching this video with me and my input on the character Clara. I really hope I summon her soon. Hope you guys have as well, and I'll see you in the next video.